Well, we're back, and now let's meet someone who is very well informed about black bears.
Number 1, what is your name, please?
My name is Lynn Rogers.
Number 2.
My name is Lynn Rogers.
Number 3.
My name is Lynn Rogers.
Okay. Here is the black bear biography of Lynn Rogers. It goes as follows. It says, I, Lynn Rogers, am a naturalist. As such, I've been participating in an exhaustive study of the black bear in the north central region of the United States. The purpose is to obtain needed information for the proper management of the black bear and its habitat. Now let's look at some very bearable pictures. That's what it says here, bearable pictures. Most bear cubs are born around February 1st, and they are 1 to 2 months old when we first see them. Now, after a bear is caught and tranquilized, it is tagged for future identification. Counting the rings in the root of a tooth is the best way to tell a bear's age. Each bear is given a lightweight collar containing a radio transmitter. We can then track their movements, their food habits, and their social interactions. One immediate benefit of our study is that indiscriminate year-round killing of the black bear is no longer permitted. Thus, the black bear is now protected for about 10 months of the year. Signed, Lynn Rogers. Geez, now protected 10 months of the year. If we could teach the dumb bears to hibernate for those other 2 months, they'd have it made, wouldn't they? Yeah. They'd be home free. Let's start with Kitty Carlisle.
Oh, thank you. Number 3, do they hibernate for the other 2 months of the year, the bears?
They hibernate for approximately 6 months of the year.
Oh, well then, they're protected year-round then, to all intents and purposes.
While they're in the dens, they're protected, but basically those 2 months between September and November, they're allowed to be killed.
I see. Number 2, everybody loves black bears and says, ooh, ooh, aren't they adorable? Except me. I think they're very dangerous. Is that true?
I don't actually think they're as dangerous as is generally thought.
Oh. Number 1, do you think they're dangerous?
No, not at all, really. They're more afraid of you than you would be of them.
Well, number 3, I've seen people rather badly hurt in some of the national parks who let their windows down and tried to give the bears food and so forth.
Well, I put that down to the people's fault, really, because what happens, the bear is really basically very timid and very afraid and will run away from man. But the people sort of aren't aware of that, and they are inclined to be scared of the bear, and as a result, they...
All right, that buzzer takes us down to Bill Cullen.
Yeah, I'm going to change my tack just, so we don't promulgate a misconception here. Number 2, all right, number 2. Is it not advisable for the average person in the wilds to give bears wide berth? That's the point, I think, what Kitty meant when she said dangerous. Admittedly, their intentions are good, those bears, but, I mean, shouldn't we stay away from them?
It's generally advisable.
Well, wouldn't you then think that if it's advisable to stay away from them, somewhere along the line there must be danger there? We're not trying to place the blame, as it were, but it's dangerous to truck with a bear.
Well, I feel that when bears are used to people, as they are in Yellowstone National Park, that there's a chance that they'll maybe try to get something out of your pocket or so.
Yeah, okay. Number 1, how long does that radio transmitter that are put on the collars, how long is that usually good for?
It's good for more than a year. We don't trust them past a year. We replace them usually.
How many, number 3, do you have in a given area?
At the moment in the area we're studying, we have 23.
Transmitters?
Yes.
And what area exactly, number 3, are you studying at the moment?
We're studying in Superior National Forest, Minnesota.
Number 2, what is the largest species of bear? I know black bears get pretty big, but they're not the largest, are they?
I think the Kodiak bear is generally thought to be the largest.
And Peggy Cash, please.
Thank you. Number 2, when it comes to a bear's senses of sight and smell, which of his senses is the most acute? Smell or hearing or eyes or what?
Smell.
Okay, and number 2, okay, what's the worst one he's got?
Eyes.
Thank you. Now, number 1, how many bears do you figure are in your area?
Well, I'd say in Minnesota there are, well, at latest count, it's very difficult to count them because you very rarely see them unless you trap them. I'd say there were 10,000. We're only studying 200.
Good. Okay, now listen, number 3, isn't it true that in Yellowstone Park there's a big thing going, a big controversy going on now because they're trying to keep the bears away from the garbage pits?
That's right.
And some people say that that's exactly the wrong thing to do because the bears are used to eating that way, and therefore that's why they're attacking people. Do you agree with that theory?
No, well, they've only become used to eating that way because people are inclined to leave lots of food around, so they
Yes.
went and they ate. But there's been a theory put out by the Craighead brothers, and so they've been trying to close those dumps for that reason.
But now, since they've been closing the dumps, there have been more bears mauling people because they don't get their din-din anymore, and they don't know how to get it in any other way.
And from baby go to Alan Ludden.
Number 3, when a bear is playing, a trained bear is playing and fighting, as we see sometimes in the Walt Disney movies and that sort of thing, does the bear growl? Does the bear make any noise when he's playing and wrestling?
Only if he plays with it a bit too much. At first he doesn't, but if he's just a bit too much strength is used, then he does tend to growl a bit.
Number 1, have you ever heard a bear growl?
Well, growl, they grunt, they squeak, they make pig noises, yeah.
Number 2, does a bear eat anything?
Certainly.
I mean, is there nothing a bear will not eat? Is what I mean.
I don't know. There must be. Sure, I don't think they eat trees.
Do they eat grass?
Yes.
Do they eat?
And there went that inevitable bell.
I think they-
It is balloting time, friends. And what do you think there at home? Let's take a look. Is it number 1? Or is it number 2? Or is it number 3? I won't bother you with the penalties. I think you know what they are. And Kitty has made up her mind.
Yes, I think they're all terribly good. I just think that a little more caution should have been emphasized about bears, particularly people traveling with children in the parks, the national parks, but I voted for number 2.
All righty, so we've got a 2, and we're going down to Bill Cullen.
Yeah, I agree with Kitty. I think bears, people should stay away and respect them for what... I voted for number 1.
You're going for a 1. And Peg.
You dope, the bears aren't asking you to come around there. You're bothering them, they're not bothering you. I voted for 2 because he knows that the bears have terrible eyesight, just like me.
All right, pair of 2s and a 1. And Alan, you're going to spread it?
I voted for 3 because she sounded like Betty when she was defending the animal and attacking the people. So, she's a real animal lover.
All right, the votes are all over the place, and isn't that good? Good job. Will the real Lynn Rogers please stand up? And there's Lynn in the middle. And before the show, the girls were saying, we're not going to get any votes. Nobody will vote for us. Number 1, what is your real name? What do you do?
My name is Ann Keefe, and the only bears I see are on stage at the Morosco Theater, where I stage manage the changing room.
Great show. Great play. Number 3, we'd like to know about you.
My name is Greer Melling, and I'm a drama and voice production teacher from New Zealand on a visit to America.
Uh-huh. Lynn Rogers takes money to do the sort of thing that you're doing, studying these bears. Who are your underwriters in this?
They're mostly, organizations interested in hunting and forestry practices. The National Rifle Association, the American Forest Institute, the Big Game Club, Wildlife Management Institute, Minnesota Department of Natural Resources, United States Forest Service, and the Wildlife Management Institute. It's funded through the University of Minnesota.
I see. Well, all right, Lynn, thank you very much, and thank you, ladies. Good job. I had a friend who was addicted to practical jokes, and he used to love to do things that amused him. And so one year, he bought himself a great bear suit. Marvelous bear suit, and he went out to Yellowstone Park. He went out to Yellowstone Park, and he would do things. He'd get down on all four, and the tourists would come by in their automobiles, and as the car came by, he would stand up. He did the most marvelous things, you know. Yeah. And he would carry signs saying, "Please feed the bears." And then one time people stopped to take his picture, and he waited till they stopped to take his picture. He reached under his arm, picked out a camera. He told me it was the most marvelous summer he'd ever had.
I like him.
What's he doing now?
Huh?
What's he doing now?
And when can you visit
Well,
him?
it turned out he got engaged to a bear.
Are they monogamous?
I forgot to ask him that. We'll see you again.
This is Bill Wendell speaking for To Tell the Truth, a Mark Goodson, Bill Cotton production.